Officer Daniel Carter had patrolled the quiet roads of Black Hollow for over a decade. The small town rarely saw crime, but on one fateful night, he received a distress call that would change everything. The radio crackled to life. Unit 47, possible break-in at 309 Ravenwood Drive. No response from the homeowner. Proceed with caution. Daniel knew the house well. It had been abandoned for years after the Williams family vanished without a trace. The locals whispered about it being cursed, but Daniel wasn't one for ghost stories. He sighed, turned on his cruiser's lights, and made his way through the fog-laden streets. The house stood at the end of a narrow road, shrouded in mist. The wooden panels were rotting, and the windows stared back at him like hollow eyes. He stepped out, flashlight in hand, and approached the creaking front door. It was ajar. "Black Hollow PD. If anyone's inside, come out now," he called, his voice firm yet uneasy. Silence. Then, a floorboard creaked upstairs. Daniel's grip tightened on his flashlight as he climbed the decaying staircase. The air inside was heavy, thick with the scent of mold and something metallic, something rotten. He reached the landing and saw a dim light flickering from the farthest room. As he approached, a whisper echoed down the hallway, a child's voice. "Help us." Daniel's breath caught in his throat. He pushed the door open. The room was empty, except for an old police radio sitting on a broken chair. It was turned on, static buzzing through the speaker. Then, through the distortion, a familiar voice whispered, "Officer Carter, why did you leave us?" His blood ran cold. The voice belonged to Officer Mike Harris, his former partner who had disappeared 5 years ago. Daniel took a shaky step back when suddenly the radio crackled again. The sound twisted into eerie laughter, distorted yet unmistakably human. Then, footsteps, slow, deliberate, behind him. He spun around, his flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. The hallway was empty, but the air had changed, colder, heavier. Something loomed in the shadows. A pair of pale hands shot out from the darkness, gripping his wrist. Ice-cold fingers dug into his flesh. Daniel struggled, heart pounding, as the unseen force whispered in his ear, "You should have answered the first call." The flashlight flickered and died. The last thing he saw before everything went black was the face of his long-lost partner, pale, hollow-eyed, and grinning. The next morning, Daniel's cruiser was found parked outside 309 Ravenwood Drive. The door was open, the radio still crackling with static, but Daniel Carter was never seen again.